everybody. Welcome back to the Show and Tell show. It's just three of us today. Nicole is over in Penetanguishene Centennial Museum all by her lonesome today because Jan is off. But Genevieve and Nina, honey, we're here at Huronia Museum. Now, last week, Penetanguishene, you threw out the challenge, something creepy, scary, Halloweeny, because the season is upon us for pumpkins, ghouls, and ghosts. So what do you have? Show us yours first, since you challenged us.
All right, so we have a few things that are a little creepy, but I thought I would go with the thing that we're most well known for. And I'm just going to show you a picture because it is in the museum and we do have visitors right now. But what I have are these mysterious footprints that are on our floor in our general store. And to give you a bit of sizing, here is an old lady's shoe. Now, if you know, wow, this is an old, like early 1900 shoe, and ladies did have small feet back then, but just shows you how large these footprints are. And the story behind these footprints is we're not sure. So they're actually located inside the general store component of the museum. And as the story goes, this was an old general store that was closed down in the 1950s. And then in 1967, it reopened up as a museum because the building was sold to the town for $1 and in the mid 60s, and then they opened it up. When they opened up the general store, one thing they did is they went around and tried to, you know, make everything look really nice and fancy new. And they actually buffed all the floors and sort of like shaved off the first layer of the wood floor on my main floor. And these remained. They did not go away. Then in the 1990s, once again, the museum was in a little bit of disrepair because it used to be only a seasonal museum. It was only open in the summertime, and the foundation started to sink in it. So it actually started to like sort of lean like this, and they had to redo a lot inside the museum in the 1990s. They went and redid the flooring in that area, kind of shaved down, kept the original flooring, but sort of rebuffed it all. And these remained once again. So our story, we say the story is that it's Charles Beck's footprints that are standing there watching over the area. But the mystery is what was on the back of those boots. There must have been some boots with something on the bottom of them that made such a mark on the flooring there that nothing can ever take that sort of mark off the floor. So it's sort of kind of like our mysterious, like spooky artifact. People come here to see the mysterious footprints that they have, and it's right at that spot in between where we have the general store and his lumber office, which is near the safe with all the money. And that's why we say it's him protecting, you know, standing there protecting his money. So that's our little spooky artifact, I guess.
Wow. So the only thing I could think that would like seep into wood at that level would be something oil-based, you know?
Yes.
Yeah. That you couldn't, like, I know, like if you try and sand like a piece of furniture that you get and you try and restore it, if something's like really deep with oil in it, that stain is not going anywhere.
Yeah, but that's like full on oil on the bottom of your shoe though,
yeah.
Right?
That's,
that kind of mark.
That's someone who did that with purpose. There's some significant effort into leaving your mark there.
Yes, that's what we thought too. Yeah, this is very significant, just standing, you know, right at that spot. You know, they wanted to leave their mark. So
yeah, Charles Beck wants to let you know he's keeping an eye on you.
Yeah.
What's in the safe now? What is right in the safe right now? Is it just an artifact, or is he...
We do have, so in the safe right now, we do have a little bit of his Beck money. So the money that he would give his employees. And we do have actually a lot of the lumber log books from a lot of the lumbering camps that he had. We have that in there. We have a lot of locks in there too, just sort of a display of locks. And most recently, we actually put his will was actually in there, but that's only been in the last couple of years. And so these have been here long before his will was in there, but we do have that in a case, but we just thought it was sort of interesting that we had his will. So we put it out for people to see and not touch.
Wow. So you have something like that is kind of like haunted. It's haunted.
Yes.
Like you got like we don't have a haunted. Is this haunted?
No.
We have our thing. We don't know if it's haunted though. We don't think it's haunted. I hope it's not haunted because it isn't. Because check out what we have, Nicole.
Okay.
It's pretty cool.
It isn't ghostly or spooky, but it will make you feel uneasy and send a shiver up your spine. It is a 19th century medical tool called a scarificator. And a scarificator, I guess it's the pinnacle of tools that were used for a certain purpose. And it's all based on a almost 2,000-year-old medical beliefs, theories from a 2nd century physician and philosopher named Galen. He believed that the key to well-being, physical and mental well-being, relied on a balance of 4 fluids or humors, they were called, in your body. So black bile, yellow bile, phlegm, and blood. And you could both treat and prevent illness by maintaining a balance of those through purging, emetics, and bloodletting. And there were a lot of tools that were used for bloodletting. We do have a number in the collection, but this is probably the nicest of them all. A scarificator has actually, what it would do is it would create a series of very superficial cuts in the surface of the skin. And it doesn't work, but I can remove the bottom and you can see we've got 16 blades on the underside. They range, scarificators generally range between 4 and 16 blades. So you would use this. Now that belief, that theory of Galen's, took a long time to be debunked. Yeah. So that it was by the 17th century, there was some experimentation by other physicians and scientists, and they began to understand the nature and the function of blood in the body. But because I guess the nature of the movement of academic research and just general tradition or public perception, it took another almost until the 1930s, it was still being advocated. It took that long for bloodletting to be dismissed, or I guess the idea of bloodletting, but to treat things like excess fluid or hypertension, fever, pneumonia, headache, all sorts of things. So this tool was generally used, it came in a set. We only have the one tool, we don't have the set, but you could use it in 2 ways. It was used with glass cups or metal cups. It didn't really matter what they were made of. And what you could do is use that cup, a warmed cup, you could place it on the skin, and that warmth of the cup would create a vacuum and it would draw blood to the surface of the skin. And then you would use the scarificator, and it's got an adjustable handle on the top so you can control the depth of the cut, and you would use that to lance the skin. Or you could alternately
look at Nicole's face.
Yeah, see, it makes you feel uneasy and a bit shivery and grossed out. Or you could cut the skin and then use the cup to draw the blood out. Volumes of blood really depended on the doctor, the diagnosis, but we do know that on occasion, some people would be treated in excess and they would be killed from the loss of blood, but it didn't happen that often, it seems. But I've got here an excerpt from an 1841 series of books called the Popular Encyclopedia, being a general dictionary of arts, sciences, literature, biography, history, and political economy. So it really didn't specialize in one thing. But they're giving you advice on the scarificator. And it says here, the scarificator is an instrument moved with springs and containing from 4 to 20 lancets or more, according to the nature of the part to which it is applied, or the quantity of blood it is intended to draw away. A well-constructed scarificator, and the instrument has of late been greatly improved, should be capable of being regulated,
That'd be this button here that regulates, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
So as the lancets will only penetrate to such a depth as may be required, and there is considerable art and dexterity required in the performance of this operation, so much so as to have now rendered it a separate branch of surgery in cities and great towns. As there is, however, little danger attendant on the operation, and it is any person with a few lessons may easily practice, if not with all the dexterity and address of a professional cupper, yet sufficiently well for all practical purposes. I don't know. We think it a branch of popular or domestic surgery worthy of being cultivated. Indeed, a few lessons from an expert operator will render any intelligent person competent to the performance of the operation in the more ordinary parts of the body in which it is employed. And then it goes on to tell you actually how to use a scarificator if you've got an inflammation of the eye, but you do have to have a second person with you to lift the eyelid so you can lance it.
Oh,
so it's like a bit of a delicate operation, but don't worry, if you've got a little practice, you can.
Isn't it like pretty though?
It is a beautiful. And
like, can you see like how ornate? Can you? I'm trying to.
It is. Yeah.
It's pretty, but it's just horrifying to think of being used on your eye.
Yeah, anywhere. I've read of other parts of the body where it could be used too. Yeah. It's a very interesting subject.
So is that creepy for you?
That is very creepy. Yes, for sure. Yeah.
I mean, bloodletting hasn't entirely gone away. It is being brought back for certain remedies. It is not used folklorically, I guess.
Is this something that anybody could have just purchased and done themselves, or would you actually, make sure you went to a professional?
Well, I guess they're recommending it for domestic use.
Wow.
I imagine, though, that would be pretty pricey. So you might just want to go with a regular old fleam.
Old fleam.
It's almost like a jackknife with a little kind of axy blade.
It's like those lancets that you have when you take your blood when you're diabetic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, although with a fleam, you don't really have any kind of control over the depth, except your own striking power. So
wow.
Oh well.
Let a little too much. I guess there was an art to it, and after a while you do get used to the control or the power that you have to use to anyway, that's the scarificator.
It's a scary scarificator, whatever you call it.
It is. It is. It reminds me, I don't know if you've ever, like if you're a horror movie fan, I don't know if you are, but have you ever seen like the Clive Barker series, like Hellraiser?
Yes.
They have the puzzle box. I can't remember. It has a special name, but this is what this reminds me of a lot. It's probably inspired the whole Clive Barker storyline. Yeah.
I think the decoration was meant to lull you, thinking, oh, something so pretty can't be dangerous.
Yeah. But
it's apparently much less painful to use a scarificator than it would be to use a fleam or a lancet.
Yeah.
It's kind of considered to be more humane.
A little bit more controlled.
Very cool. Well, there we go. Did we creep you out?
Yes.
Good.
Yes. Very much so.
Yeah, you creeped us out. We creeped you out. Mission accomplished. Yeah. So next week's challenge, are you ready?
Yes.
So we have lots of our things that in our collection, this being one of them would have been a great example, but I thought we should look for things that are obsolete.
Oh.
So either made of materials that are now obsolete, because I know we once had a thing that was made from X-radium. We had to have the nuclear commission here to test it. It was fine. We don't glow in the dark, but we have lots of materials that used to be in use, but we no longer use because it's not safe, or we have better technology to replace it. And it's just really cool that we still have examples of them, whether that be an item or a material. Let's bring something like that out.
All
that
right.
we no longer use, but it's, yeah, obsolete with good reason. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
I'm sure we have things around our collection.
Oh yeah,
anyway,
for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so next week is the obsolete episode. All right. We'll see everybody next week. Thanks for joining us again. Bye.